Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Just a few housekeeping things before we get started with our discussion. We do use the Chatham House rules here with the DORA community, so you're welcome to use anything you learned today. We just ask that you don't attribute it to any one person or organization. And with that, Nathan, what's new with DORA?
Hey, Amanda, thanks so much. It's good to see you and everyone else. Man, those parodies, absolutely incredible. Thank you, Amanda. I don't know how you keep finding them. You say it's harder and harder, but every week you show up with another great one. So thanks for that. Well, let's talk about what's new with DORA. So first and foremost, and you can, I don't think I can advance the slides. You can go to the next slide for me, please. First and foremost, thank you so much. The 2025 survey has closed. I want to thank all of you for participating in the survey. We had nearly 5,000 respondents this year, which is, I think, our biggest year. Certainly in the last few years, it's the biggest year. Certainly in the post-pandemic, post-lockdown period, it's definitely the most respondents we've had. That's really awesome. We are planning to launch the report in late September this year. And you should stay updated to get more, like there may be previews and so forth of the report as we do all of our data analysis and into the writing. How will you stay updated? Well, you're already a member of the DORA.community mailing list, I hope. That's probably how you found out about today's event. But also we've already started, we've started a section on the DORA.dev website for all of our 2025 research. So you can go there right now and get a little bit of an insight into, or a preview, a first look, if you will, into some of the things that we expect to publish this year. Not any juicy findings, but certainly some good information. Let's go on to the next slide, please. We are really glad, I can do it now myself. Thanks, Amanda. We're really glad to have all of you here at this time of day, which is hopefully convenient for you, although it's not convenient for other parts of the world. So as you may know, or if you're watching the recording, we do have a chapter of the DORA community that's now hosting events in a more APAC-friendly time zone. We don't have any currently on the schedule, but they'll be coming up soon. Dhruv, who's a DORA community guide, looks after that chapter of our community. So stay tuned to the calendar and the mailing list for updates on when the next one of those will be. And then finally, my final announcement for today is DORA t-shirts. You have a very limited time to go purchase a t-shirt. They will look very similar to this. I see Amanda is wearing one, and Dave has on one, and Steve has on one. So many great DORA t-shirts out there in the world. As you see, you can get them in a number of different colors and fits. We have both straight cut and fitted cut. It is a limited time only. The days are only going to be available for purchase for about another 10 days. So if you've been waiting, now's the time. Jump in, buy yourself a t-shirt. So with that, I will hand things back to you, Amanda. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathan. And Dave, we can agree to disagree. They're both great colors. Although I think that you must have aligned with Steve and I aligned with Nathan today when we chose our shirt colors. Well, super excited for today's presentation and discussion. And I will say, probably the first person that I ever met that really gave me the concept of platform as a product was Dave Stanke. And so I'm going to actually pass it to him to introduce today's speaker. Dave?
Well, I'm very excited to introduce today's speaker, Deepti. As folks have seen, DORA has really been exploring more and more deeply the notion of product. Though we don't always use that word, we have a notion of user-centricity, centricity. I think we've used a little bit of both. And we've shown the impact of that on the quality of outcomes and software that we deliver to our users. And this has become especially important as we get into developer platforms, IDPs, and the importance of product management and product development for the success of those initiatives. So it is very exciting to bring Deepti Kamat, who is a fellow NYC Googler. She has a long background in software engineering and product management at various places, but now she does something very cool, which is she is a product management guru, or consultant, perhaps, working as part of Google's professional services team, which means going in and working with our customers to understand their business, help develop product management strategies, and really facilitate them to deliver great products for their users. And this includes IDP projects, and she has a lot of experience and wisdom to share. So I'm really excited to hear what she has to say. So with that, Deepti, take it away.
Thanks, Dave. Let me just quickly present my screen and let me know when you can see the screen. All right, so thanks again, Dave, for that introduction. As Dave said, I'm Deepti Kamat. I'm the product management consultant. And since I come from the product management discipline, I want to start by dissecting those two words, like what is a product and what does managing a product mean? So that's what the agenda for today will look like. So the initial part will cover what is the product, what are some of the pitfalls, some gotchas if the product is not managed, and lastly, and most importantly, how would you want to treat your platform as a product? So let's start with what is a product, right? Again, this is kind of the definition of like the product that we want to treat a product as. So a product is something that is driven by the user needs, executive objectives, some business KPIs. It's not driven by solely time and budget. It's an application system, tool, platform, whatever you want to call it, which has a specific problem to solve and a clear, purposeful mission. Whereas a product is not a project, which is like a specific steps or operations needed to accomplish a particular goal. Product is also measured by the product outcomes and metrics, and it's not measured by concluding activities, which is what you would call a project, right? So let's keep this definition of like what is a product in mind when we go in like the future slides, and I'll probably keep recapping this again as well. So let's talk a little bit about the pitfalls of a product, and in this case, a platform is not managed. And if you could indulge me a little bit as I go through the pitfalls, if it sounds a little bit similar to what you have encountered in your career, in your past, can you send me a crab emoji? And I'm glad Amanda showed us the emojis before. So yeah, there you go, Garrett. So when you see the slide, when I talk about it, if you feel like you've encountered any of the pitfalls, let me know. So let's start with the first one here. So the build it and they will come fallacy, right? We probably have seen this where the engineering team goes in and builds a platform and thinks it's like technically sound, and developers will flock to it, but it doesn't always happen. So without a prioritization mindset, without that feedback loops, it's difficult to get the users adopted on that platform. And the consequence of that is lower adoption of the platform, which is like underutilized, wasted resources. So significant time and energy is spent on features that nobody really wants or uses. And yeah, the developers will start using alternate solutions, which are like unsanctioned tools outside of organization, leading to fragmented, insecure technology landscape. I saw a few crab emojis, so yeah. And the ivory tower platform. So this happens when the engineering team kind of starts building the platform without understanding the actual users. So they end up creating something which is technically very impressive, but ends up being practically useless, right? So some consequences of that are the platform ends up being difficult to use. It has confusing documentation, cumbersome workflows. It has mismatched abstractions in terms of like wrong level of abstraction is that it's like too low level or too complex and very high level, and inflexible for developers to accomplish what they're coming for. And it also leads for developers to have intrusive cognitive load. So having that another layer of complexity for developers to learn and manage on top of already the skills that they have acquired for their day-to-day. The third one here is the ticket trap. So, and I've been guilty of doing this. So the platform team that acts as a reactive ticket taker simply by implementing features requested by the loudest, most influential teams, and that gets through in the platform as a feature. So this leads to disjointed, incoherent platform, which leads to inconsistent design. So again, collection of disparate features rather than a cohesive whole product that you're looking for. There's a lack of strategic direction. So not having that long-term vision, but being more short-sighted on those decisions leads to, again, a lot of technical debt accumulation. And you end up creating a bloated and complex product, which ends up doing a lot of many things poorly and nothing well ultimately, right? The next one here is the one and done project mentality. Again, the definition that I showed for like the project versus product there. We want to treat a platform as a product. So a product means you have ongoing investment, maintenance, evolution, having that care given to the platform as a product. If not, we don't do that, we end up with a lot of, again, technical debt, the platform becoming quickly outdated, difficult to manage. It's not able to evolve, so it cannot evolve with the changing needs of the users, changing needs of the business, and overall the value diminishes over time. It also leads to erosion of trust, so ends up being like less reliable, less effective, and not just trust of the users, but also like the stakeholders, right? So if you build up a platform and it's not given the same care, why will users trust you? Why will stakeholders trust you? Why will the leadership trust you? So that ends up being a factor there as well. And the last one here is the value obscurity problem. So again, it's difficult to articulate and measure as a product the value itself, but we definitely need to justify the investments, and without the clear metrics around adoption, user satisfaction, what is the impact of the business of the platform and the business goal, it's difficult to justify that investment. We already know the 4 key DORA metrics which measure the development team output, but we also need some sort of metrics to understand what are the user goals. Is the user satisfied? Are we meeting the business goals? What are the product outcome and value around the product? So those are again important to help us justify the investment there. Yeah, if you don't define the value, it ends up being more of a cost center, and so becomes a necessary expense rather than a strategic enabler for business value. And in times of budget cuts, again, platform ends up being like one of the first ones to go away, or like the first one to get some budget cuts and be scaled back or eliminated. So those are some of the challenges if we don't treat platform as a product, and if it's not managed the right way. So let's start jumping into what platform as a product means. So treating platform as a product is somewhat, I think this picture does a good way of telling the story. So having that product mindset, applying the definition of the product that we saw earlier, while building the foundation with the customer focus. So studying your users, understanding your users, observing, researching them, and developing that platform backlog that works towards these different value streams for users, for business, for the stakeholders, by defining what the success looks like and build towards it. So the circle that you see here is intentional because this is all done over and over and again, iteratively, by learning through the outcomes and measuring how we are acting towards the success of the platform. And certain principles to treat platform as a product. And again, these are just like a gist of it. I'm happy to chat more in the coffee chat as well. But understanding your users, treating platform as a product, starting with the right problem, and embracing MVPs. So in this case, minimum viable platforms. So the first place I would highly recommend if you already are not on that journey is like starting by understanding your users. A Google principle that you might have heard of when Google develops products internally, externally, is focus on the user and all else follows. So but start by understanding like the persona. So the persona is nothing but, again, fictional characters are created to represent the users, to understand their pain points, what are the needs, what are the core definition of needs there, and also the critical user journey. So that's a combination of their goal and the tasks that they take to achieve that goal. So mapping this out would lay a really good foundation for any platform or product. So in this case, you would want to understand your app developers, like what are the needs, what are their pain points, and like what are their high-level goals when they come to the platform, and what are the actions they take right now, and how can we improve on those particular tasks. The second one here is treating your platform as a product. So yeah, platforms shouldn't just exist. They should be loved and cared, similar to how products are. They need features, user experience, roadmap. So having that definition of product applied to your platform, so having a clear purposeful mission, vision, as well as having a product manager who can help define that mission, help define that vision and the roadmap, help with the scoping, prioritization, giving it the right direction in terms of strategy, in terms of the roadmap. I think it's again more critical. The third one here, yeah, it's okay to start small, right? We don't have to always do this big bang approach. We can start small, more advanced capabilities can come in later. Start by understanding those, like what are the business goals and objectives. Definitely you want the users to be happy, but it would be awesome to work towards those business goals and objectives when you build the platform as well. Be more, I think, data driven when uncovering these right opportunities. So again, if you do that user research or more competitive analysis, anything that goes with like understanding where the opportunities lie would help you get that data and help make you the right decision on what are the opportunities you should be tackling now, next, and later. And the last one here, yeah, and embrace the minimum viable platform. So define what that, again, MVP, minimum viable platform product would look like. So what are the critical things or the P0 things that you would be solving for? Again, if everything is a P0, nothing is P0 and nothing will get done. So we need to have that definition of like what is a P0 within a team or within an organization. Build, measure, learn. So as I said before, like iterating over the product via the CUJ, via getting the success metrics and improving on top of the existing product will help measure the outcome and work towards like a successful roadmap. And yep, adding capabilities over time to improve the product and platform maturity. Again, be more data driven in this approach, like getting that iterative feedback either from the users, from the product, from the logs, like wherever you want to get as much data as possible. That will help you make those decisions and what are the next capabilities you would want to add to your product. And I think that was it in terms of the content I wanted to cover, but back to you, Amanda.